Hello, everyone. Today, we will explore a work by the writer who painted the most beautiful nightmares in the history of Japanese literature, Junichiro Tanizaki. The novel is his masterpiece, Naomi, original title, Chiji no AI / A Fool's Love. The word Chijin in the title literally means fool or idiot. A serious man meets a young girl, has his fortune sucked dry, his spirit dominated, and falls so low that the world points at him and calls him a fool. By all normal standards, this story should be a tragedy, or perhaps a psychological horror. However, the terrifying genius of Tanizaki lies in the fact that he depicts this very fall as supreme happiness. Why did a man voluntarily choose to become a girl's slave? And what of the secret desire to be dominated that lies dormant within us all? Welcome to the world of Tanizaki, the pinnacle of aestheticism and masochism. A high-collar dream, the diamond in the rough. The narrator of the story is Joji Kawai, a serious 28-year-old electrical engineer. Living in the Taisho era of Japan, the 1920s, Joji, like many men of his time, held a strong complex toward and admiration for Western culture. He thought, I don't want an old-fashioned Japanese wife. I want a high-collar, modern, Western-style wife. It was then that he met Naomi, a 15-year-old girl working as a hostess in a cafe. She was not a breathtaking beauty by traditional standards, but there was a strange charm in her face and limbs that reminded him of a Westerner, like the actress Mary Pickford. Joji felt it instinctively. This girl is a diamond in the rough. He takes Naomi in and begins a life with just the two of them. English lessons, dance lessons, piano practice, Western table manners. He pours his earnings into her, attempting to raise Naomi into his own ideal Western lady. It was the beginning of a one-sided breeding game, much like the Greek myth of Pygmalion falling in love with his own statue. Joji was projecting his own selfish ideals onto a living human being. At this stage, Joji was completely in the position of the guardian and ruler. He felt an innocent sense of superiority as he watched his creation grow more beautiful by the day. The education fails, the monster is born. However, Joji's calculations begin to go awry. Naomi absorbs the education and luxury Joji provides like a sponge, transforming into a sophisticated woman with astonishing speed. But on the inside, she does not become the ideal lady he envisioned. Instead, she matures into a little devil, skilled at tempting and using men. The decisive scene where the power dynamic completely reverses is the famous horse riding scene. In their room, Naomi makes Joji get down on all fours. She straddles his back, using her sash as reins, and commands him to crawl around the room, shouting, "Giddy up, giddy up." Normally, this would be an act of utter humiliation. But at this moment, feeling the soft weight of Naomi on his back and hearing her cruel commands, Joji feels something unexpected. It is an indescribable, numbing ecstasy, a pleasure mingled with deep humiliation. His reason tries to resist, but his body is already craving Naomi as his ruler. Naomi realizes this immediately. The colder I am to this man, she thinks, the more obsessed he becomes with me. Here, the relationship of guardian and girl collapses, and the relationship of queen and slave is completed. What Joji had raised was not an ideal wife, but a beautiful monster that would consume him. Addiction to the flesh, the man who cannot leave. Naomi's wild behavior escalates. Finally, while Joji is away, she brings young men into their home, turning it into a scene of debauchery. Witnessing this decisive betrayal, Joji flies into a rage and kicks Naomi out of the house. This should have been the end. He should have been liberated from this nightmare and returned to his serious, normal daily life. But what attacked Joji, now left alone, was not the joy of freedom, but withdrawal symptoms akin to a living hell. he realized the terrifying truth. Naomi's white skin, her smooth limbs, the scent of her perfume. His body could no longer survive a single second without that physical form. It didn't matter how vile or immoral Naomi's spirit was. He simply needed that beautiful object by his side. Joji is made to painfully realize that his love is not spiritual, but a complete and total physical obsession, fetishism. Discarding his pride and his common sense, he begins to wander the city, searching for Naomi. Total surrender, the contract of a happy slave. Eventually, Naomi returns, but she does not apologize. Instead, she coldly presents her conditions for getting back together. I will continue to play freely. I will date other men. You are not to say a word about it. If you agree to that, I might stay by your side. It was a slave contract. She was abandoning her chastity as a wife and treating Joji merely as a sponsor. What did Joji do? He signed a contract. He decided that even if Naomi played with other men, as long as she was in his house, as long as he could gaze upon her beautiful form and occasionally touch her skin, that was enough. At the end of the story, in the eyes of the world, Joji is a pathetic, miserable old man who is cheated on by his wife and has his money squeezed out of him. But he declares to the reader, the world may laugh at me, but right now, by worshiping this rare flower named Naomi and becoming her slave, I feel a happiness beyond compare. The reason Naomi is such a terrifying and brilliant work is that, in the end, Joji does not become unhappy. He discards ethics, social status, and masculinity, and by being 100% faithful to his own desires, he attains a paradoxical salvation. This is the moment when reason is defeated and the flesh and desire claim total victory. The fool, Chijin, in the title does not simply mean a stupid person. For Tanizaki, a fool is a title for a kind of chosen one, someone capable of discarding the boring wisdom of common sense and morality to live solely for the beauty that makes their soul tremble. In the eyes of the world, he is nothing but a pathetic clown, a failure. But in the world of aesthetics, he is a victor who has obtained a goddess named Naomi. And there is one more crucial perspective. Who created the monster named Naomi? It was Joji himself who educated and polished Naomi to become the ideal woman. In other words, while he seems to love Naomi as another person, he is actually loving his own desires and ideals reflected in the mirror called Naomi. Kneeling before an idol, he created himself and becoming its slave. This is also a story of ultimate narcissism. In the modern world, we too sometimes devote our entire lives to pushing, supporting idols, characters, or ideal figures on social media. The psychology of finding joy in dedicating money and time to an object of worship and being emotionally dominated by them. How is that any different from Joji? Tanizaki asks us, through this work, human beings become infinitely powerless before beauty. And isn't there a perverted joy to be found within that very powerlessness? Is there something in your life that you would kneel for, even if it meant throwing everything else away? And if you could become a slave to it, would that be a tragedy, or would it be happiness? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.